Do you ever feel like sweaty Warzone lobbies never give you time to think? That's because they don't. Most gunfights in Warzone are decided in about 5 seconds. Not because you run out of ammo, not because you miss shots, because you run out of decisions. I call it the 5-second threat. The moment bullets fly, a third party shows up, someone flanks, your teammate gets cracked, your cover disappears, your plan falls apart. 5 seconds. That's all you get to solve the fight, or become another kill on somebody else's highlight reel. Here's the good news. The best players aren't making faster decisions, they're making the same 10 decisions every single fight. 5 combat reflexes keep you alive, and 5 help you take control. Master these and you'll stop just surviving sweaty lobbies and start running them. Every fight has 2 questions. Can you survive the first 5 seconds? And once you do, can you take control? Reflex 1 is reload your intel. Before you shoot, before you move, before you panic. You need to recharge your information after each engagement. Where's every team? Who's cracked? Who's rotating? Where's my cover? The player with the best information makes the best decisions. Don't be the pick. Every squad is looking for one thing, an opening pick. The teammate who can't be traded. If you're the pick, the fight is already over. Don't be the easiest kill, make them earn every bullet. Tip the odds. You never want to take a fair fight. Fight from elevation, fight from cover, fight with your teammates, fight when they're weak. Pros don't win because they're better, they win because the fight was unfair before it started. Plan your escape. Every push needs an exit. If this goes wrong, where are you going? What piece of cover will you use? What door? What roof? What window? Never enter a fight without knowing exactly how you will leave the moment you need to. This is the hardest reflex to learn. Call the nope moment. Sometimes the winning play is leaving. Living to fight again is still winning. Changing position can offer new information and force the overreach into your position, giving valuable time for your team to regain. Once you've survived the 5-second threat, it is your turn. Let's make them panic. Reflex number 6 is break the team. 1 team, 4 players. Never fight all 4. Split them up and isolate them and turn one impossible fight into 4 easy ones. If you're using the defensive tactics from the first 5 reflexes, you will be better equipped to take on these individual fights, prioritizing cover. Finish the fight. Mid-gunfight, you don't want to be looting, and you would preferably not want to be plating. Constantly focusing on repositioning, on reloading your ammunition and information. Finish the fight before you engage a new fight. Knocking a player isn't just damage, it's leverage. One player is out, someone has to revive, someone has to cover. Now they're reacting to your offense. This is one of the largest forms of control and is the opposite of reflex number 2, which is don't become the pick. Whenever possible, leave a downed player and reposition around that area and wait for teammates to push their friend or your last known position. Close the cage. Don't let them escape, cut off the exits, take away their options, and force bad decisions. Creating a trap and mixing their information creates more panic and more control over the gunfight. Reflex number 10 is become the problem. Or in today's case, become the 5-second threat. At the core of every ambush is an aggressive player that uses gun skill and momentum to overpower an entire team. Now you're the player everyone is afraid to challenge. They're reacting, you're controlling. They're surviving, and you're hunting. That is how you become the problem. Applying constant pressure through gunfire and outmaneuvers creates more opportunities for enemies to make mistakes, forcing them to overreach, giving up their position and their resources and hopefully their power position. The average player spends 5 seconds trying not to die. Strategists spend 5 seconds deciding who dies. Ladies and gentlemen, students and subscribers, in today's situational report, we are going to avoid the 5-second threat and practice how to become one. Now, if you're not familiar with my channel, we start off with the Gauntlet, which is where we run from train all the way to research on Haven's Hollow. It's one of my favorite rotations where we practice getting into zone while under pressure. Now, throughout the course of this entire game, you're going to see a lot of stressful gunfights, and we are actually going to be hanging on by a thread at one point. I want to show you how we get out of these bad situations and how we still engage teams to go for a high kill win. Now, we started off here, we got 2 kills on the board, and we have our loadout. Now we're pushing up into zone, which is where I think this skill set is truly important to practice, is getting ahead of the zone as it slides makes it so that you are in an advantage. And one of the things about the 5-second threat is you need to be aware at all times who can reach you in 5 seconds. That's how quickly teams can push you, and you can find yourself in this situation with the gas on one side pulling you into zone, and we intercepted by pushing straight into bowling with our loadout. Now we have tons of information on the map, and right now I'm doing an anchor and entry system. Now that's from lesson 4 of the SitRep School of Strategy, which is our positioning. If you have not watched all 8 episodes of that program, I highly recommend after this video, go straight over to my channel, hit the sub button, and then check out the entire 8-part series about how to get better at Warzone. But the anchor and entry system is simple, and you allow a player to move in close on an advancing team, and then you put suppressive fire from behind. And it's a rotating part of that formation fight, and as we push to the top of this roof, this is closing the cage, and that is really important because we're applying pressure and we're breaking up the teams. We're using both reflex number 6 and reflex number 9 in this situation. Now we're focusing on the fight, which is finishing the fight. And what we want is to take out every player of this team so that we can rotate into position safely. And with each one of these knocks, we're getting new pings, so we're not advancing to a new area until we've wiped that threat. Very, very important to stay on reflex number 7 so that we're not fighting a whole secondary team as we roll into zone. Very, very important. All of this is encompassing in becoming the problem. And that's why I say using the intel from your defensive side could have prevented this for them. They could have had proper exits, they could have had better map awareness, and they would have been farther ahead in zone to not have to deal with this threat because they didn't leave themselves enough time. And that's really what this video is all about how you use your time for defense versus offense. Let's take a look at how aggressive we split off here. We actually lose yellow, we go down, yellow goes down on the backside, and we start continuing to apply pressure because reflex number 7, we're finishing that fight, we're not backing off of it and giving them an advantage. So we're going to push forward into lumber, but we're going to do so as safely as possible. We're pulling back away from that lethal, and we're making sure that we have the best possible advantage in this fight. But we know what they want to do. They want to move towards the buy station, get UAVs, get precisions, and get their team back. We see the player moving behind the lumber. And another thing I want to point out here is I don't leave the comms in this video because there's just incessant comms because we're fighting as a unit. There's 4 guys together and we play together often. So this was very smooth, but we're still pinging, and that's what cleans up those right over here pings or on me, because not only are we communicating, we're working together, we're giving our teammate visual clues to reinforce the comms on locations of enemies. That's allowing for that circular closing of the cage, the flanking, and providing pressure. That's that reloading of intel because they're not setting themselves up. This guy should be executing a note moment, reflex number 5, and getting completely out the back door of lumber and on his way up to coal. Instead, he's trying really hard to get this buy off, and it's not going to end well for him. So that rotation comes with a price though, because now we have created massive distance away from our team, and now we cannot immediately help. So what can we do? From a distance, we're going to throw up a UAV, and we're going to provide information for ourselves as well as close by teammates. Remember, you're not going to get pings if you're on the other side of the map. That's something that they changed a while back. Getting that information helps me make a better play, and we start coordinating with blue here to move back towards our teammates so that we could rotate together uphill. They're having a much harder time than we are. We're just blowing through this team over air lumber, and that is where you have to make the call. As we're doing all this, I'm seeing 2, 3, 4 fly-ins on the backside of lumber, as well as players that are definitely holding us uphill at coal. So now it's time for us to pull back away from that fight, get ourselves in a better position to now help our team. Hugging that cover. You want to create as many angles as possible because now we're on the defense, right? So we are using rule 3 to tip the odds, and we are making sure that we do not want to be the opening pick. And when that opening pick occurs, your teammates have to make a tough decision, which 9 times out of 10, they will retaliate and push to bring you back. And that puts you in a very bad position. And it is the number one thing that players need to stop doing. You do not need to be the medic. I've said this in multiple videos before. In order to improve as a team, you need to have better positional awareness. And when your teammates are not in position, you need to call that out. And don't be afraid to call out a bad decision. And especially don't go push that bad decision. So we got back to our area where we got back to the area. We're reloading with our reflex number 1, looking for dots, looking for gunfire, and seeing the arrangement of our teammates. Green's back in the game. He's helping hold the line. We're checking back over our shoulder to see if we're getting rotated at, because there are only 5 seconds away from pinching us. And that's the respect that I want people to really think about, is the timing of these teams and how we push and apply pressure. They can apply the same pressure. We hear gunshots and we move to those. They're hearing our gunshots and moving to us. So there's not a lot of time to wipe this team. We are going to have to turn around and fight the opposite direction. The better and the more fluid you get at that, the more successful you will become in your gunfights. And we talk about that a lot in these play sessions for tier 2 and above, when we do multiple wins every session trying to accomplish just that. If you want to try that out, make sure that you're upgraded to the correct tier so that you can hang out with me and other members of the team that are practicing these techniques. Now I'm pinned in this situation. I'm going to give information with that dot that they see on the map, and I'm calling out to blue to have my cover fire so that I can advance up. I played up in the meantime. He is right on my 6, shooting over the wood pile while I am taking cover and re-kitting. Very important to keep that in check because they have suppressed me. And if I continue to not get away from that fight and not call a nope moment, I will be the opening pick. And this is why all of this circles together and those reflexes, because you have to communicate and you have to make decisions based on the current fight that you're in. And these instincts, they seem like a lot, but if you break down the 5 defense and the 5 offense, it really comes together. Now, I don't know how many are actually in here, but there's confirmation from green and yellow that it's a whole team. They're going in the left. Where am I going? To the right. Formation fighting 101. I've got one guy in front of me. I'm going to continue to fan right, make sure that I'm thirsting, and I see yellow drop down. They're going to move to what they think to be the safe opening. Reload, and I time that fight. Waited for the moment to hit that reload, and just as I do, the fan formation comes out and we cleanly go from target 1 to target 2. That transitioning is what gets us the wipe here, and we're able to bring back the team. Very, very important to use these mechanics in a fluid fashion. The better you play with teammates and the more you communicate with these instincts, you will start making better plays. Now, what do? When you get information, we have to focus on where the rotation is going. Reflex 4 is I'm having an exit while maintaining the information from reloading my intel in Reflex 1 and then taking the odds for Reflex 3. Fluid transfer with that dot so that I have the best possible cover, and we're going to isolate that solo enemy as he moves away. Now, once he does, we're going to take ground, and this is where I'm becoming very aggressive here, but I'm doing it from the safety of cover, and I'm going to isolate this team by breaking them apart. Reflex number 6 is very, very dangerous because you're deciding to advance into a gunfight that you do not have the advantage of. So Offense can turn into defense really quick, and my escape plan is going to be activated by my nope moment if I don't get enough comfort with that push. So I'm going to continually push for new information. We're going to go for a UAV, but I'm going to hold the fight that I just provoked, because finish the fight. And that is really the important part, is after you have poked a team, the worst thing you can do is go poke another team. This is where it falls apart. And this is where this game starts to go from fluid to very messy right here. Watch what happened. Blue and yellow start to take fire from behind at the buy station, and I have to divert my attention, and green immediately goes down. We have a new issue because now there's a dot at my 10 o'clock position on the map underneath the rail cars. We are getting collapsed. Two teams are accidentally closing the cage on us, and I have to make a decision. So I'm going to get to high ground, and then I'm going to push the last known position of those dots mixed with their pings and comms, and we're going to properly take our angles to keep our odds in our favor, but I'm going to move away from the potential of that guy that was up by the rail cars. That activation of defense in the note moment is pulled together by the thought process that players are going to push the sound of gunfire. We're able to get back up here, relocate all of our resources, get some plates in, and now start to push forward. Meanwhile, we are at the back of the circle side, which is the last place you want to be, with 2 or 3 teams ahead of us in zone. We're on 12 kills. What are we going to do now? We're looking at coal. We're going to defend that position if we need to advance, but we are on a buy station and have to make a decision. This far back, we are now going to get held by the team that I shot first over at the porta potty. Multiple gunshots on above, and then I see 2 teammates go down, and if I was this guy in front, I would be pushing me for an easy kill under bridge. I throw my zips, and I go to zip towards the gunfire, and I get knocked on the way. They have a perfect pinch where they collapse on our position, and we are in a sticky situation. To our advantage, though, green was able to get back in the game from when he had died over on Wood Bridge, and now we have a new situation. We have final circle over at research. He's floating in the air with a good 30 seconds between each, and he's going to anchor on the far side of the map. Now we're going to do something that is very, very sketchy. We're going to push as a unit the bottom of research with no weapons. And I highly recommend this only be a Hail Mary pass, but notice that green is not engaging targets right now. He has no boxes to pop. There's no contracts in the immediate area that he can grab to accelerate the process. And we are coordinating together what window we are going to. Very important here. Notice I pop open the map and I'm communicating with the team that that is where we're going. As soon as we drop, we're going straight to the bottom and into the window. And even if there's somebody in that room, 4 submachine guns should be enough to clear the room and advance into the fight. He straddles the gas line. We start to move in towards the window and notice how fluid we drop in. Going towards the garbage can, finding a weapon along the way to make this as fluid as possible. And then we're keeping line of shot or line of sights on the window so that we can defend anybody who is laying there waiting for us. Works completely to our advantage. I call out because there's one on the roof. And we move in for a close advancement. Notice how close we're playing, but we're still fanning out because the guy above us could easily shoot down and take us out, but we are going to get inside the room, divide our assets, get some plates on, and make sure that we are in the coordinated push to lead this area. In the meantime, we have a team that has found our position downstairs, and they're throwing the thermite at the desk. Now, with 3 of them piled up on the couch there. We have to get ready to leave this room because they're either going to push the door or drop down off the roof and push the window. And we don't want to fight that. Little discouragement. Buyback. We sweep the corners. He moves out. As soon as Blue rushes across, he goes past the doorway to draw fire. We provoke this guy down the steps, and I'm able to immediately take him out. Very simple tactic of the baiting of the player, but it works like a charm. We've opened up, we've controlled the buy station somewhat, and we're controlling the left side of the building. Now we are counting teams. 3 guys left, napalm on the roof, and I'm starting to piece together the in-game picture that we talk about in a lot of my videos. Circles pulling over to data, and we likely still have 1 team on the roof, if not 2, and we're the 4th one on the bottom. So we are going to have a hard rotation. Everybody needs to have zips, and we need to also get that precision, which green has in pocket. We're going to move towards the last known position and the gunfire, and we're going to start pinging to protect information. The ping is once again our way of getting in line with each other on reloading that intel, because we don't have any information on the map. This is a big part of becoming the problem, because all the little details that you're not thinking about, another enemy is hearing you and listening to your strategy. So as we move out, I am committing to the defense of this role. I am taking the angle and preventing them from moving, and notice how we're rotating. We're not rotating straight into zone. We're taking the outside rotation. We're also going directly under the overhead cover from kind of this metal roof to my left here. That prevents their visibility from the people on the top of research. And that gives me the perfect angle to set up the shot. I'm waiting, looking at both angles, and in the moment I look away, I look back because I see movement, and we're able to wipe that 4th team out of the game. Unfortunately, there's some friendly fire with the precision airstreak, but we get the pull. And this is where the self-control saved us in this situation, because Blue is down on the bottom provoking, and I'm able to get up there, res the teammate. Yellow, look where he is, all the way back in the pull. Didn't full commit to the rotation because it would have been very bad if we had all died here. He could have had power at the buy station and then recouped our buyback. 4v4, how does this play out? Moving back into zone, holding the support and overwatch position while green and blue continue the breach in the flank. And if you have missed my formation fighting videos, they are my favorite tactic to teach people who are trying to do these things, whether you're in ranked, casuals, or in pubs. This tactic works every single time. 4v4, 2 being aggressive and 2 playing defense. We're in zone, 1 player out, 2 player out. 3rd one goes down, and I pull off the right side hook to take out the last player in the game. Guys, these 5-second thoughts are something that you need to have throughout the course of the entire game. Start with 1 reflex and continually build on them throughout your play sessions so that you become better at making decisions to stay alive against the 5-second threat, and then how to take control and become the 5-second threat. We also just released our merch. If you want to reach out and support the channel, it would be greatly appreciated. We got some really cool stuff on there, and I will see you guys in the next video. Keep building, keep adapting, SitRep out.